Why build this? Why have something that feels more decentralized, that feels more private? What was the driving intent behind all this?
So when I originally got into Bitcoin, what attracted me was the libertarian ideals of Bitcoin, the concept of peer-to-peer digital cash. In that statement, it separates money from the state. In the interceding 10 years, the systems that we have built have stopped doing that. They have become centralized, trackable, traceable, co-optable because they can't scale, economically unsustainable. There's all these issues with it, but it certainly isn't meeting the goal of separating money from the state. So the whole point of Quai was to build a system that would be capable of doing. So how do we build a system that can function as money, that can scale, that can't be co-opted, coerced, censored, or owned by anybody? That's truly a decentralized protocol fulfilling that original statement of peer-to-peer digital cash. That is the motivation. So why are we doing all this work? You can't have an independent system if that system can be tracked, because with tracking, you're going to create censorship. So we're basically saying you have to scale because scale is part of decentralization. That's one thing that people don't even really consider in a lot of ways.
If there are three miners and they're all you're not sufficiently decentralized.
One thing that's great about Bitcoin is proof of work. In a well-designed proof of work system, you have good economic decentralization at sort of the tip of the chain. But there's a limit to how much of that you can get. Its purpose is to make the system immutable and to finalize transactions so they have security. But even with that, there's actually a more robust form of security, and it's actually social. There's social decentralization if you can get people to use the system. If you look at the election in the United States and you looked at this anti-crypto army, there's 30 million coiners, and they were kind of going against 30 million Bitcoiners. It was on the line of what was politically possible to do without undercutting your ability to get elected. It was right there. And apparently 30 million was just enough to sort of defeat sort of the anti-crypto army, I suppose. But if I can make a system that isn't just some 10 million, 30 million speculators in this financial asset, but I can make it so everybody's using that thing daily, so that they're buying their food with it, they're filling up their gas tank with it. Once you get to that threshold, it becomes impossible politically to shut down. So that degree of social resilience through utility and use is actually where you need to get to if you want to create a system that can withstand attacks and co-ops by the biggest and strongest powers in the world.